Welcome to the second video where I will continue to color page from Art Nouveau by Jade Summer. It's called Isis and Her Sacred Snake. In the previous part I did background using alcohol-based markers and pencils, mostly Arteza. And also in this video I will continue to answer questions about coloring, some coloring problems and creativity. First of all, let me tell you what I am doing. When I started to think about which colors to use for the clothes of the Isis, I realized that, in fact, I used many of those colors which I think quite traditional for Egyptian culture for the background. In my opinion, when I do something for the Egypt theme, I mostly use various shades of blue, turquoise colors, then of course various earth colors like terracotta, ochre, various shades of brown, and then of course orange and red. You can see that many of such colors I already used. But fortunately in Arteza set I managed to find slightly different shades of the same colors. For example, for the clothes I selected pair of peacock blue and Mykonos blue as a main pair, and they were more bluish and closer to turquoise colors comparing to the background, and I also tried to find slightly different shades of red and yellow. Down in the info box I will leave you a link to the previous part where I answered tag questions regarding crisis of creativity. The next question of this interesting tag is: if you fail to complete one coloring, can you switch to another without feeling guilty, depressed, or anxious? Yeah, any problems at all. I think that I can easily leave picture which I started. I can leave it for some time or I can leave it forever if I feel that I made a mistake, that something went wrong with the color choice, or maybe when I simply stopped to enjoy doing this page. Maybe it was a wrong choice of the art media, maybe I don't enjoy working on this paper, or I simply made a mistake which I don't want to correct, or it's impossible to correct. So the whole idea was changed and the final look won't be as I imagined it. And I don't think that I will feel any guilty or any pressure or anxiety. I always mention that for me, coloring is hobby and also it's a learning process. I am sure that even if it was quite interesting and precious picture, I will be able to find something similar in my coloring books and start from the beginning, but this time I will try to use this experience which I gained from this failed coloring, and I hope that my next attempt will be better. But I don't think that we need to be stressed about not very successful coloring or feel guilty that you have to finish work which you colored. I think that too many people think too seriously about coloring. I always try to remind myself that it's hobby, it's for my relaxation, and I never proceed to color if I feel really stressed or discouraged by something, so I really try to always stay positive so I won't be guilty and I can easily switch to other picture. Also, when I color something, I prefer to color probably 70% of the page, then I put it aside for a couple of days and I start another page. In such way I can start couple of works. Then when couple of days passed, I return to the first work and with fresh eyes I can see better. Do I need to add something or change something? And it's really helpful to finish this work. So I usually color switching between 2 or 3 pictures. I don't like to have more works in progress, but 2 or 3 is perfectly normal for me. Next one. If you have a plan for coloring pages for a month, a week, but you do not fit in time, does it knock your general mood for the entire future creative process? Well, I do have plans for months, and I would say that probably I plan about 50% of my future coloring for the future months, and another half of pictures I select in more spontaneous way by looking at my books, by flipping them through, or maybe having some inspiration from social media. But I do have some plans, and I really try to maintain my uh, speed of coloring probably, but it's only because I am a video blogger. Honestly, if I wouldn't have to post videos less or more regularly, I wouldn't care about plans, about fulfilling them, about fitting in time. Well, when you're a blogger, you have to think about regularly posting videos, and if you're a coloring blogger, it means that you have to color regularly and to, to color quite quickly. When I start to feel that I don't fit in time according to my plans, it never stressed me or affect negatively my coloring process. I simply try to be more organized. I try to prepare my pencils in advance. For example, when I don't color, maybe when I travel from work to home or when I'm doing some work at home, some other tasks at home, I can think about what I will be coloring today later and which pencils I have to prepare in advance. So in time when I finally will be able to color, everything will be ready and I won't be wasting time for preparation. I know my pencils quite well, especially Prismacolors and polychromoses, so I can imagine easily in my head my desired color palettes for today's picture. So when I start to color, I won't be losing time for preparing pencils, for trying to find them. Also, when I start to feel that I am a little bit late with posting videos, I try to color something smaller. That's why pictures by Johanna Basford are very helpful when I still need to post something or when I simply want to color something finished. That's when I enjoy doing pictures by Johanna Basford. But honestly, once again, if I wouldn't need to post videos, I never would be stressed about maintaining my plans. You also know that I color quite quickly because I don't like a lot of layers. I prefer to apply a couple of layers. I tend to press quite hard on my pencils, so even with 1 or 2 layers I am able to cover paper to get quite bright colors, and it really helps to color quicker. Also, you know that I love to use mediums like neon colors or watercolors for the background, and these mediums they also help to color quicker. So if I feel that I need to fit in my plans, then maybe I will try to switch to quicker coloring media. Next question. If you feel that some picture only needs certain materials that you don't have at the moment, will you patiently postpone coloring or will you not resist and try to color everything with improvised materials? Well, it's a good question, really interesting, and I had to think for a little while, but I would answer that I would patiently wait. I had similar experience when I just got books by Hannah Carson. I didn't have Prismacolor pencils. I tried to color in her books using my cheap budget pencils, then my color softs, And there was a huge difference between how my pencils behaved on paper and what I saw on YouTube videos, and I really wanted to have such effect. So I patiently waited and I saved money for my first set of Prismacolors, and only when I got my Prismacolors I started more seriously color in Hannah Carson book. And I was happy because the difference was huge. I remember that experience, how I did my first picture with Prismacolors and how I was able to cover the whole background with pencils and pencil strokes wasn't visible. I was so surprised. I was so happy. So probably I learned my lesson that it's better to wait a little bit to purchase medium if you feel that you really need them to get the result which you imagine. And in the end you will be happier. The same thing I had when I didn't have Neocolor crayons. I really had a lot of problems with backgrounds. When I got them, it really helped me to do pictures in Night Voyage by Daria Song, for example, and in many other books. So my answer is now I definitely will be patiently waiting. Now I am blessed because I gathered a lot of various coloring media, so probably I don't think that I would need something which I don't have. But in the very beginning, I would advise to wait for your desired media, and then you will get much better result. Next one. If someone very emotionally criticized your work and now insists on improving it, will you do it? No, definitely no. I have a rule for myself that when I finished to color something, it's final finish. I never try to improve or change my works later. When I look at my old works 1 or 2 years ago, now I can see all their faults where they have a lot of problems. For example, my works they always lack contrast and so on, but I never try to change them. And definitely I won't be changing something according to demands to someone who accidentally looked at my picture and decided that he knows better how to color. Well, I always appreciate good advice about my works. Of course, I would prefer them to be told in correct way, not very without any not very polite things, and I do try to analyze such advices. If I think that they are wise, I will remember them and I will use them in my future works, but I definitely won't be correcting this one. Usually, when I decide that I'm done with the page, it means that I put all my efforts, all my knowledge into it, and I can't do anything else. And return to it, I don't think that I will enjoy it. If advice which I received is really helpful, I will be using it in my future works. But as it, in this question we have someone not very polite who criticized my work, I don't think that even if his advice they can be maybe helpful, but in such case from rude persons I don't won't be receiving any advice. I simply will block such persons. I really try to maintain positivity on my channel and all my social medias, and I would never criticize anyone's work myself. I never give advice if I am not asked, and I don't maintain such things on my channel. It's quite simple. I not block many people, but if they're rude, if they are trying to insist on something, yeah, I will be easily blocking them. I think that we need to maintain respect in our coloring community And to ask someone to change something in her work to criticize, it's definitely not a polite way of communication. So I won't be listening and probably I simply will block such person. Next one. If for a long time you have problems with coloring, you can't color the work the way you intended, or you are not satisfied with the result, will you take a break, completely abandoning your hobby? No, definitely not. I don't think that it will be a good solution. I think that if I am not satisfied with my recent works, I will try to switch to other media. Maybe just for another brand of pencils, or maybe I will do several works with ink pens or with watercolors. And also, I will try to color in coloring book totally different in style and in subject. I have huge collection of books, so it won't be a problem. And usually, when I feel that I started to repeat myself with the same color combos using the same pencils, it's the good way to switch between pencil brands, to switch more, doing more with watercolors, and to select one of the books which were abandoned for some time on your shelves. Usually it's helpful. For me, it's never works to make a total break from coloring. I don't think that it will help you to resolve problems. Maybe trying to color something totally different will be helpful. At least for me it works. Because when I abandon coloring, I still will be thinking about my not very successful works and I will won't be distracted. And by starting something completely different, it definitely will help me to reload my thoughts, my creativity. So that's my way of solving such problems. Next one is, if you hear that your hobby is called useless and worthless by someone, will this reduce the amount of time you spend on coloring? Oh, definitely not. First of all, it's not many people which opinion really can disturb me. I am blessed that my family always was supportive of all my hobbies. They helped me, they always encouraged me, and I know that my love to coloring books grown from many coloring books which I received as a child, and whatever I wanted to try any new hobbies, my family always was supportive. And now I'm glad that each and every of us has its own hobby and we try to be interested in progress in each other hobbies. And I think that it makes our life much more interesting and full and more precious probably. So opinion of some other people about my hobby doesn't bother me at all. First of all, because I think that you have to think for yourself, not for thinking what other people think about you. Maybe those people they are just ignorant, they don't know how more developed now is coloring, how beautiful books we have, how beautiful artists created books. Maybe they think about those more simplified books which are intended for children. Maybe they never probably saw nice adult coloring book. But even if it's just a problem of their ignorance, it's their problem, not mine. I think that person which doesn't have any hobby, it definitely makes their life not so full. I think that time which we spent during the last year in self-isolation when a lot of us stayed at home only with our family or even alone, those who have hobbies, it was much easier for them. I think that we all need to be self sufficient, if it's possible to say so. that opinion of other people, it doesn't matter at all, not about what hobby we have or about our level in this hobby. If we are novice, if we just started, it's our hobby, our joy, and that's only thing which matters. That hobby brings joy to our life and it helps to spend our time more fully and more interesting. I simply feel sorry for people which don't have any hobby, not sport or some I don't know, no music, no reading. So people without hobbies, it's terrible thing, I would say. When I meet someone for the first time, I love to ask person what is his hobby, and it's perfect way to know person better. So please don't listen to those who mock at your hobby. It's I think that we have great hobby. It really helps to calm ourselves, to enjoy ourselves, to meet wonderful people, to learn a lot of new things. So please don't listen to those who don't appreciate coloring. Well, somehow video is almost over, but I hadn't answered all the questions which I received in this quite interesting tag. So I hope that you will join me in the third and final part. I will finish to color Isis, I will color her snake, and it wasn't a very easy task for me, and I will finish to answer this tag. So please watch the third part. And thank you for listening.